you come to my bathroom, you'll see I have a baby picture of myself, and I'm maybe 10, and I thank those girls for getting me here. It's just acknowledging all the steps along the way, because a lot of times we can say, well, this happened to me, so this is why I behave this way. And for me, it's like, this is what happened for me. Like, I'm learning through things.
Hey guys, everybody, welcome back to my podcast. I have somebody extremely special. Lately, we've been interviewing a lot of ladies, and I'm like, hell yeah. But today I have a Latina with me who she's going to be bringing the spiciness.
For sure.
Like with 2 C's and 3 Y's and 5 E's, like spicy. Should we make that the title of this? We should do something like that.
I endorse that.
Yes, let's go. But I actually have a local business owner, entrepreneur. Her name is Miss Stephanie, and she's going to be talking to us about the different businesses that she owns and operates. The reason why we're having her on here is because we love what she's about, which is bringing her family along with her. Now, I know you're looking at us and you can't see who's behind the camera, but she's got her daughter, Nadia, with her, who's in her mid-20s.
She is.
And is doing the business with her. And that's what we preach, is doing life all together. So before we get into it, before I talk about like your struggles and the things that you've gone through and the business that you built up, there's so many different people that are listening that are through the other side of the camera. And I ask everybody the same question that comes on here. So I'm asking this same question.
Okay.
Why do you feel like people should listen to this podcast? Why should people listen to this?
For this particular podcast, I would say if you want bite-sized, digestible business tips and raw authenticity, this would be the place.
That's powerful. Bam. Okay, cool. And tell everybody what you do. I know that you have multiple different avenues of business, so kind of tell people what you do here. And again, she's locally in Arizona.
Yes. So I own the Trade Café. It's the longest standing coffee house in downtown Phoenix, owned by a Latina. We are headed into our 18th strong year in the city. I also founded a nonprofit organization called EYA, Empowering Latina Leaders in Arizona. And we've got 3 flagship programs. We started with the Mujeres Mercado, and that is the largest outdoor market in Arizona. We also have the Amor Collective, which is an incubator space for Latina entrepreneurs, business owners, and makers. And then we just launched about 6 months ago, Amor Amigas, and it's more of like a social club, networking, spicy event.
Where do you, all these people, where do you find them? Like, how does that work? How do you acquire? Is it just like some clubs you have to be like word of mouth? And I like to say this because other people want to start their own clubs or locally their own chapters. So like, how do you find your people? How does that happen? What's the process?
Really, we've kind of just built a community that continues to just grow. It's happening very organically. A lot of our work is done on social media. People hear about us, and very, very open communal type space. So, I mean, we continue just to double and double and double every event.
I love that. And why the cafe industry, the coffee industry? How long have you had that one? You said 18 years?
Going into our 18th.
Why that industry out of anything else?
So you would think by looking at it all that it seems like the strategic plan. It was not my plan. I'm a former educator. I taught science to 8th graders, and I went to Costa Rica, and I was just mind blown at the cycle of the earth, our consumption, and the negative impacts that we have just through purchasing coffee. And I just thought, like, I don't think people understand. So I wanted to bring around like conscientious consumerism. So all the coffees and teas that we do are 100% fair trade, shade grown, organic. They're served in compostable cups. We're diverting over 500 pounds from the landfill every single week. So it's a very thoughtful, conscientious business, and the coffee tastes amazing.
Yeah. Do you, that's funny that you say that, because I believe coffee is the #1 most addictive drug in the world. Is that fair to say that?
I mean, it depends on your interpretation. However, it can also be very good for you.
Yeah, I love it.
If done the right way.
I'm drinking some of it right now. And then at your shop, do you have, do you just sell it by the cup, or do you guys import like beans from other places where they can ground it up too?
It really kind of just changes. So I have a direct trade that I know the farmers and the family directly. So that's about 80% of my beans. I'm also bringing in from Guatemala, from a woman farmed So it's like I said, it's very, very intentional. Yes, you're coming in for your latte or whatever it is. However, everyone knows that when you're getting that cup of coffee, you are creating positive impacts.
I love your intentions, how you're like, this has to be like this and this and this. I'm like, good, every business should be operated like that. Because if you're like that in your business, you're probably like that at your household, like with your family.
This is who I am.
Yeah.
This is who I am. And I wouldn't say that every business should. I would highly recommend it. However, I do believe that everyone will find their way. And when things are done very ethically, conscientiously, and through a space of love, in my opinion, it's just going to compound.
I love that. What's your back history? Like, are your parents married? Are they separated? Are they together? What was your household like growing up? What was that story like?
So I'm third generation. My parents came from very small towns in New Mexico, and they got married extremely young. They had my sister in New Mexico, my oldest sister in New Mexico. My mom and dad just wanted more, so they saw opportunity in Arizona, and I'm very grateful that they moved here because the towns that they were from were extremely small. Like when we go back and visit, it's shocking how small they are. So I'm grateful that they came here to Arizona, and I am the youngest daughter of 3, and I had a little brother. So yeah.
And like, so the whole like getting into the coffee realm and all that was just because you were inspired by something?
Yeah, by my trip. I just thought, I'm part of a problem, and how do I create a solution? I just knew that I wasn't...
You're a solution maker.
100%. 100%. And once I know something, I can't unknow it. I'm unable to do that. And if I see a problem and I have the capacity to create a solution, why would I not?
Yeah.
And really that's kind of, once I have allowed that to happen and allow my life to flow that way, things just continue. Okay, Stephanie, this is where you go next, and this is where you go. I'm guided.
Do you have another business then that you're thinking about opening up? Because I feel like you already have something cooking. I'm like, I want in on that.
Well, I mean, the nonprofit is really growing a lot. I'm open. I'm just open to whatever comes my way.
That's so cool. And so your daughter's involved as she's here sitting with us on the camera. And what about your other kids too?
Oh, they have no interest. My older son, he's a teacher. And my youngest son, he's 13, and his goal is to be signed as a professional soccer player by the time he's 16. So,
I've found oftentimes that a lot of entrepreneurs that I've talked with, they come from some sort of struggle or crisis or traumatic life experiences. The gal that was sitting here right before you, her husband, who she was married to for 15 years, was addicted to pornography, divorced him, and started a coaching business to help men and women through that. But she went through like a crisis. Have you ever experienced something that was really challenging for you that,
for sure,
like gave you that grit?
I think that you're not going to experience life without, we all have traumas. We all have crisis. Yes, I'm sure there's been a series of things. However, like the grittiness is something, there wasn't one blunt issue that came. I was an independent mother, and it was like, okay, I'm a teacher, and I loved it, absolutely loved it. However, I saw this problem. In my mind, that was a crisis. I was contributing to this problem. So, okay, I'm going to teach Monday to Friday during the day, and we're going to pack up the kids, and we're going to go build this business so that we can create a solution. So I can't say that there was one particular thing. However, that grit that I have as an entrepreneur, because I think in order for you to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to have grit. You have to be relentless.
Yeah.
Because you have no idea. I mean, the 17 years, 18 years that we're going into in downtown Phoenix, we have seen the economical downturn. We've seen the light rail expansion. We've gone through the pandemic.
COVID, yeah.
Yeah. So all these things, if you don't have grit, you're going to pack your bags and go home.
So something that you're really good about is building teams.
100%.
You're very, very good at building people, and I can tell that you love to build people up. What are some hiring techniques that you would give somebody when it comes to building a team and like hunting, finding the right people, noticing if somebody is like on the right mission, isn't really on, they're kind of halfway in, halfway out. Like here inside of the Elliott Group, it is very, very, we tell everybody we don't hire for the money. We hire you for the heart. So like, don't come up to me, give me your resume from LinkedIn. Like that's just not going to work here. Like I want to know who you are as a person. Are you coachable? And are you on our mission? Because the reason why we don't, like a lot of people, they're like, hey, this is what the last guy's paycheck looks like, and you're going to make that same amount of money. The problem is if that paycheck doesn't show up or it's not the same exact numbers, you're bouncing, you're quitting, and you're leaving out, and you're going to lose people left and right. So we've created an unrecruitable culture where nobody else will do do anything to leave because we have a mission. So what are some hiring techniques that you have, that you build with your business?
So I think it's important to be very clear on what your mission is in your particular business, whatever that business is. And, you know, we have 5. So each business has their own mission and vision, being very clear on what that is and making sure that in that hiring process and expansion of the team that they understand the mission and that we're unwavering. I am never going to serve coffee in a styrofoam cup.
Yes. Like, oh my gosh, I love that. Thank God this isn't styrofoam. That would be embarrassing right now.
I didn't even look at your cup.
I think she's like, Celina, you need to change your ish up in there. Just kidding.
So I think it's really being clear and understanding that they understand. And being coachable is huge. It really is. I also think that reflecting on myself as a leader and as a boss, like that word comes with so many negative connotations. However, it doesn't have to. So I have created my own definition for what a boss is and exemplifying that. I think also being transparent is really important. However, the number one, I do all of the hiring. We have managers. However, these are businesses and brands that I truly believe in, and I want to know everyone that's working with us. So I really do lean on my intuition. How do I feel? How do I feel with this person? And a resume really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yes, I understand that they're important in certain industries and places. However, who are you as a person? I can teach anyone to do anything. However, I can't teach you to be a kind, thoughtful person.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I can teach you how to pour extra creamer in here.
Exactly.
But like,
I
you
can
can't change
latte
the
art
love.
and all the things. However, who are you as you're serving it and making it? Because I'll tell you, you can see the difference between coffee cake that's been made with love and coffee cake that's not. And it sounds so silly, but it really is not.
Yeah, you can tell by the crumbles, the layers, the ingredients, the taste, if it's too sweet or too salty or
you can look at it and see it.
Do you guys bake stuff there too as well?
Every day.
We're coming there this weekend. Shoot. Everybody's getting one. Like Oprah, you're getting a coffee cake. And I love coffee cake and tea.
Yes.
They're phenomenal. I'm assuming that you have a core value that's almost like the same thing in all of your businesses. Is that right?
Yes,
what is
love.
one of? Oh, love is one of them.
100%. Everything's done with love. And I'll refer back to that when I'm making any decisions. Any decisions at all. It's like, okay, Stephanie, yes, we can look at the bottom line and we can look at numbers. Numbers don't lie. However, am I doing this through love and with love? And does this feel? And when you can say yes, it's like, okay, it's a no-brainer. Let's go.
What are you most proud of yourself throughout your journey?
Oh, that's so good. I think it to me, I have honored myself. I've done what I wanted to do.
Girl, sister, yes.
I think, there's been times where you compromise and you look back and you're like, why did I do that? I knew not to do that. So now it's just standing in my own. It's just, okay, you might not agree, and you might not agree, but I know this is right for me. And it's being able to stand in that.
So when you say no styrofoam cups, is it paper cups that you serve them in?
Styrofoam, no,
Oh, no, what do you serve the coffee in?
Everything's compostable. It's compostable and minimally recyclable.
Oh, I see. Okay. Is it like Monday through Friday? Do you give is it just regular hours?
It's 7 days a week, 7 to 7.
Okay. And a lot of your people that you hire, do you have any, I know that you have your kids in the business, but any other family members that work on the front line with you, or spouses, like husband and wives? No. We employ a lot of husbands and wives, so I didn't know.
No.
Or college kids more so to help them?
We're really diversified, very, very much so diversified. I mean, we have someone from our team, she's family now. She's been with me for 12 years.
Wow.
So we don't have a lot of turnaround. However, a lot of people will start when they're in college and stay with us throughout, and a lot of times not even leave. So there's a lot of growth opportunity with us.
What's obviously step one of opening up a coffee shop, you found a location. And then step two, what's next? Supplies for you, or building a menu? What was that 18 years ago?
I did everything the wrong way.
You did?
Yeah.
This is good, because if somebody wants to open up a shop, they can learn
100%.
from this.
100%.
What was the opposite way?
I assumed someone's space. I assumed their debt. I assumed so many things. So I started in a super hyper negative, also without the knowledge. So it was kind of like a double whammy. And I think this is why I'm so transparent on my socials, because I do want to share, because there's no reason that success needs to take too long when you have people that are willing to share so much information.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's powerful. What's something that you fear?
I'm not going to say that I'm fearless, but if anything, I fear myself, because I am the strongest decision maker and I'm the weakest decision maker. So it's making sure that I am living in alignment of myself, but fear outside of me is something that that's something you can control. You know, our mindset, we're in control of our mindset. So if I am fearful, it's coming from me. So it's being sound in myself.
How have you learned to keep this mindset? There's a lot of people that I interview that like seem great on the outside, but on the inside they're garbage and they're trash and they don't treat themselves or their family very well. So like, how do you do that?
I'm very regimented. Very regimented. I'm a lifelong learner. I mean, I can go through my day of regimens, and I mean, with the food that I eat, with the words that I use, with the way that I exercise, the things that I read, like it's input and output, input and output. The same way, like I bring my own water because I'm a little particular.
Oh, I love that. Like, what is it? Next time we'll know. Is this it?
Yeah.
Can I see it?
It's spring water. Like.
Oh. Do you sell this at your
I do.
store?
I only sell things.
Oh, this is from Sedona.
Right, so it's local water. The same way it's local honey. Like you want to eat
we drink local
locally.
Milk from a local farm.
Yeah, probably Danzanita Farms.
Yes, it is. Oh, right. Is that because they sell it at Safeway? Sorry.
No, because it's local and there's not. Yeah. So I'm very. I attempt to be very thoughtful and take care of myself and be kind to myself.
How have you learned? I know we talked about being like coachable, and that's very important side of our company. How have you learned to stay coachable as an entrepreneur? Because sometimes there's people that are like, I know it all, I don't want to learn more. There's not enough like I've got all my holes and leaks and opportunities fixed. Like I don't need more help. Or we have a lot of people that say I'm doing better than most. Like people that are making better than minimum wage, you know, businesses that are doing, you know, $500K a year that are doing great. And they're like, well, I'm doing better than most. But it's like, yeah, but when I walk into your facility, your clothing store or whatever it is that you sell, nobody says hi to me and greets me and nobody shakes my hand. Like I can feel that. So how have you learned to put your ego aside and always stay coachable for new information and
I think that's number one for success in life in general. You know, and I don't think that this journey is meant for comparative analysis. We're all in different places and different spaces, and we have different experiences that we are all growing from. So for me, I don't know. I always say I know nothing, and I continue to learn, because the day I stop learning is the day that I'm done, and I'm not done. So that to me is number one. Okay, Stephanie, are you done? All right, let's go. What are we going to do now?
I love this. This is straight fire. These are great. I'm like, I've never had anybody answer so fast. I'm like, damn, these are good. How do you keep your energy going? I know how I keep mine going. I'm like this at 5 a.m., at 4 a.m. Like for me, this just never turns off. My eyeballs look like, do you have Costco membership?
Yes.
Have you seen their watermelons? They're freaking huge. That's what my eyeballs look like, is some big old watermelons from Costco. They're like, the organic ones are even bigger too. But like, how do you stay alive? How do you keep your energy?
I think it's a attribution to, like I said, the input and the output. What I'm feeding my body with, what am I feeding my mind with? Nadia laughs at me in the morning and she's like, Mom, you just wake up like this. And there's times where I'll be in bed and I'll get ideas and, you know, my phone's off to the side. I'm like, hey, Siri, send a text message to myself. So I really just think it's like how you take care of yourself. Where's your mind at? You know, most importantly, like taking care of your head.
And is that like self-development books? Because I know when I'm in a bad headspace, or some of like our team here, like if they have a bad phone call back conversation, you know, straight to the gym. Go, like let's go, like you know, or go for a walk, get your body going. So like,
it
do you
depends.
read books or audiobooks?
I mean, it's a little bit of everything. I'm always reading. You know, I regularly meditate. I do a lot of earthing, connecting with the earth. It depends. Like if I'm off, what is it that I need right now, Stephanie? It might just be a walk outside. And it's the same thing in the cafe. Like when things get a little funny and you can feel someone that's a little off, I'll tell them like, hey, go take a hot girl walk.
Oh,
you know?
I like that, hot girl walk.
Yeah, it's a real quick shift in environment. So it just depends what works for you. Sometimes it's music for me and sometimes it's silence. So it's knowing like, what do I need, and sitting really quick, like I'm off. What do I need right now?
That's powerful. What do you think your kids admire about you the most?
I think each one will say something different. I don't know. That's a good question though. I think just that I take care of them. You know, I'm their mom. And when we think about our moms, what do we think? Like, Not how, oh, she's an incredible businesswoman or she's a powerhouse of a leader in the community. It's not those things. It's like, oh, you know, she comes to my volleyball games, you know.
I like that. Yeah. You're always with them. Yeah. Like you're present with them, because my family's opposite. We, like, my parents, my mom had to pull 2 late night jobs. My dad was deployed my entire life in the military. So like I kind of had to like raise myself and figure it out. Now their dad is no longer the picture, or you're separated from him?
I'm single. They all have different relationships with their father. However, I think with me, I wear a lot of hats. So when I pull into my driveway, I sit in my car for a quick second, sometimes longer than a second, and I will visualize myself taking off all my hats, because they don't want the boss, they don't want, you know, the founder, they don't want any of that, and I need to put on my mom hat. And Nadia is very good about saying, like, I just want my mom right now. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And that's immediately grounding.
She's smiling, because I saw her cheeks little lift up over there.
And that's super grounding for me, because it's like, oh, wow, because a lot of times it's autopilot. We don't even realize, you know, when you're a business owner and you're making so many decisions a day, that's almost like where you live. So it's really important for me to attempt to put on that mom hat.
Have you guys thought about like growing multiple locations here in Arizona?
I'm open
franchise?
to it.
Or like New Mexico? Is that where you said your family is?
My family is from New Mexico.
Yeah, so have you guys thought about expanding there? Or maybe one of the kids, you know, starting up a location there?
Yeah, I honestly have realized that the ceilings that I create for myself are still too low. Meaning, even with my...
Everybody hear that? And not just on the camera, but everybody in the room. Like when we think that we know a lot, we don't.
No, not at all. So, and I know I have big ideas. I have huge ideas, but I know that there's even bigger ideas for me. So I attempt to, you know, the looser the grip, the tighter the hold. And even with myself. So I don't want to control the growth and expansion of the businesses or the organizations. I want to allow them to bloom. And I'm simply just guiding them.
Have you ever thought about doing one of those like pop-up coffee shops? Is that what it's called? A pop-up, like ones on the side of the road?
Yeah, I personally wouldn't.
Why? I want to know why. Because I lived near those.
I think they're great. I think they're great. However, when you come to Fair Trade Cafe, there's an essence that has been built almost two decades. So you're going to feel something when you come in. You're going to smell something. You're going to hear something. There's literally everything for all the senses. And then when you taste your coffee, you are going to taste all of it. The intentionality, the love, all of it. So I think that it takes a little bit more regimen, a space to do that. Yes, we're there for the quick consumer that wants to come in and out, 100%. However, I am all about experiences. I want you to have an experience. And I think it's kind of difficult to have an experience if you're on the side of the road somewhere. Yeah, I'm looking for something a little bit more rooted and grounded.
I like that. I lived in Washington, and it's freezing cold out there. So those are very popular, and they're very cost effective. So
for sure.
You go buy one of those sheds that's like 20 grand. You stick it on the side, and then Costco's 2 blocks down the road. So your milk and whatever it is that you have to get, sugar and all that, is like right down the street for you to go buy your supplies.
I teach at ASU in their food entrepreneur programs.
Oh, yeah.
And I see all the food trucks come in, and I think that's genius. That's the perfect way to start a business, because your costs are so low and you're able to test your market and really like refine the business before committing to this space and regular, you know, rent and all the costs associated with business.
Love that. There's this book, I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Lynchpin. Have you ever heard of that book? It's by Seth Godin. I have a copy. I'm going to give it to you, because you're not leaving here without some more information.
Thank you.
But inside of this book, it talks about, it's my favorite book of all time. It talks about not being a cog inside of a machine, like a 9 to 5. I'm just going to check off the boxes from, you know, A to Z, and like I'm done with work for the day.
Yeah.
So it talks about the history about how we went from like being slaves and then working out at farms, and then farms turned into factories, and you just work a factory job.
Yep.
And it's like, in order for you to be successful, you cannot have that factory mentality. Unfortunately, like Amazon, you know, scanning, putting things in bags, sealing it, and you just do that all day. Because the problem with the factory job is it doesn't allow you to be creative. Your brain is stuck in an A to Z position, and it doesn't allow you to use the tools that you were gifted with. So Lynchpin talks about like being indispensable, and the fact when you can find somebody that can be a creator, Like, you don't need to rely on that job because you can go and take that and multiply it in different jobs.
Yeah.
You know, like, for an example, like, if you've got somebody inside of your shop that is creative about making different pastries, like, that's being a linchpin, is somebody that's adding value. So we believe that there's two different kinds of people that it's inside of an organization. Somebody that's a consumer or somebody that's a contributor. Like, are you going to take everything that I have and just take me of my money?
Right.
Or are you going to contribute your ideas to me and how we can grow? And that's what, like, I think the Elliott Group has mastered in, is really, like, contributing and adding in different value points.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means that you got to spend your own money to do that. But most businesses don't.
I was going to
wanna
say,
do
most
that.
of the time you need to spend. I mean, if you're not going to spend your own money, why would anyone else spend theirs?
Yeah.
Yes.
But, like, when you treat people like their family, they're going to spend like their family. You know, I'll give you an example. Like, our events that we have every single month, we used to do for name tags, name badges. Actually, this is a great idea for you too. We used to do the clips, like, it would hang from a clip and then put down, and then the name badge would say your name on here. The problem with that is the clips are cheap and affordable. But the problem is most people, for whatever reason, don't know why, they put it on their pants or they put it on their belt.
So you can't even see it.
Yeah, and that's the whole point. That takes away networking.
Right.
Because if I'm having a great conversation with you and I'm like, oh, walk away, I'm like, oh, shoot, I forgot what her name
Yeah.
was. And then you don't want to look on the waist. Or like a chick
Yeah.
does it down there, then a guy's looking down there. It's like,
Yeah.
it turns into a whole awkward thing. So I'm like, let me try an experiment. I want to try something else. So I spent like $1,000 on, instead of having the clip, the magnetic backing. And I was like, okay, great. So when I'm networking, I see, oh, it's so nice to meet you, Stephanie. What is it that you do? Tell me about you. My eyes are traveling right here versus down at the waistline. And then I'm like, man, I really want to talk to that chick that had the coffee shop, but I'm gonna, you know what? I got the courage. Let me go back up to her. And then now I see the name is right there. So the backing costs like $1,000 for, you know, I don't know, 1,800 pieces. And it's great because nobody's going to put the magnet down at their waist and it took up here. But now everybody loves it. They're like, oh, I love your new system. You know, but that's just being a creator. And I think, Stephanie, that's like what I've noticed through your social media of what you're really good about. That's why you're good at intentions, because you put yourself in other people's shoes.
All the time.
You're like, if I was somebody walking into my shop, what would they be thinking and feeling and seeing, hearing, smelling? Like, what is that like when they walk in? I think a lot of the world misses that.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I think we're very focused on I and not us. That's also an issue. So when I'm having an experience, or I'm creating an experience, if I walk in, would I want to come back? And what would make me want to come back? Because we have choices to go anywhere. So why would I choose to come here? And that's how I'm looking. I'm not looking into the business. I'm looking at it from this perspective.
That's powerful. That's it. If anybody wants to know how to grow a business, I'm like, that is it. What is what's a limiting belief that you've had, that you've told yourself, that you've shattered through and broken? That's kind of like what I've coined the podcast is like, if you had limiting beliefs, what are they and how can we get through them? So you know, what are some that
it
you've
was
had?
Also it was always, I'm not deserving or I'm not enough.
Wow, really? You don't come across as that.
No, you asked what I shattered.
Girl, you didn't have the Costco membership
That's gone.
back then. That's why. Okay, how did you get through that of saying like, fuck this, I do deserve this. I do deserve a big life.
I mean, it started with walking by a mirror and stopping every single time and looking at myself and saying, I love you. Just building myself. Even now, if you come to my bathroom, you'll see I have a baby picture of myself, and I'm maybe 10, and I thank those girls for getting me here. It's just acknowledging all the steps along the way, because a lot of times we can say, well, this happened to me, so this is why I behave this way. And for me, it's like, this is what happened for me. Like, I'm learning through things. And I'm not done learning. Like, I'm sure there's plenty of challenges coming. However, I'm fully prepared. I'm fully protected and loved and guided. So I will be fine.
You're very secure with yourself. I love that. I wish more people found security in themselves, and unfortunately they find it in money, materialistic items.
But that'll only last for so long.
Yep, that's correct. It's all that stuff is all temporary, and eventually you will get smoked out by the person that just is okay with them being themselves. Like, just be okay with loving you and who you are. And like, life's not about like finding yourself, but it's about creating who you are, the creation of who you're becoming.
I agree.
That's so cool. I'm going to force all your children to watch this podcast, as
Oh,
they all
they'll watch
should,
it, yeah.
and their future kids too. All you guys are going to have like a popcorn movie night. If you got to spend the day with Andy and Jacqueline and our entire crew for a week, what would you want to learn from us?
Oh, I would be quiet and I would be a sponge and I would take it all because I think we all have value and we all have something to teach each other, all of us, irregardless of how ginormous your business is or how regular you might think your life is. I think that we all have something to learn. So I would typically just kind of be quiet until I had a burning question. I would ask the question. I was a very quiet child. However, I have learned to use my voice. And so I don't allow those questions, you know, those where you're like, I gotta ask, but I don't want to, like that doubt that I would ask. So it's not any one thing, it's all the things.
Did anybody ever tell you like no growing up, or like be quiet, or tame yourself? Did you get that a lot?
Well, I mean, I was raised very traditionally. So it was don't talk and listen. So I think that that's been something ongoing throughout my life, is finding my voice, is being, you know, in these boardrooms and being sometimes the only woman, especially the only woman of color. So it's knowing that I belong in those places and asking the questions and making sure that my perspective is shared. So
I probably, that's why I identify myself as you, because my whole life it's been the same exact thing. Like everybody's told me, like, you're too loud, you have way too much energy, like you're annoying, you know, and I'm just like, so I started to compress that, you know, and be like, oh, maybe I should be more quiet. And then I freaking fell into average society, you know, until like I woke up and found a group of people that are just excited to live as I am. And I'm like, man, this is great. Like, you know, I get to be me. And it's special. Go ahead. What are you going to say?
You triggered something that I heard, I think, yesterday or the day before. And it's just really, it continues to come to mind. And it's, you can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you. And it you know, you were too loud for certain people, you can't change them, but you found a change of people. And that just continues to kind of come to my mind.
Yeah, we talk about you're the sum of the 5 people that you hang around. So if you're around other people that are drinking, smoking, hanging out on the weekends, chilling, you know, making 20 grand a year, I mean, that's all that you're gonna you're gonna become. Have you ever heard of the analogy of the flea? How high a flea can jump? Have you ever heard of that before? Do you know how, you know, ticks and fleas? Do you know how high a flea can jump?
No.
36 inches off the ground is how high a flea can jump.
Okay.
And that's the highest than any other animal. That's higher than a human being. It's the highest any mammal on this earth can jump.
Oh, wow.
But if you put it inside of a mayonnaise jar, the flea will start to hit its head on top of the lid over and over and over, and it begins to hurt. So what does it do? The environment changes that flea to where it goes just above the lid, right below. And now the flea conditions itself to only jump 4 inches instead of 36 because of the environment it's trapped in. So it's like you have to be very, very aware of who are the other people that are surrounding you that are helping you run to pressure, right? So like I do this thing where every single morning, you know, when you walk into a garage and people have like cabinets inside of the garage, or they have like shelves, like there's different boxes and shelves inside of the garage. There's different compartments. Every morning that I wake up, I find a compartment inside of my brain like a garage, and I literally open it up for more stress, and I put more stress inside of my body every single day. Because it allows me to know, like, hey, if you can handle this for 2 hours, your body doesn't know the stress difference between like physical, like working out, and stress at work. It's all the same. It's all the same chemical. So it's like if I can program my body to do stress for 2 hours first thing in the morning, the rest of the day is going to be easy. So it's like I find those compartments of stress to like add on, because I know I'm like, if I can do this, then this is going to be easier. And it's funny because I bet you 10 years ago, you telling yourself, you were probably stressed out 10 years ago trying to figure out build stuff. And then now you're back in it again. And then in 10 years, when I'm interviewing your kids in this spot, you're going to be like 10 years ago, I was in a stressed out place. But at the end of the day, it's like, we're all going to do life together. It's hard. But I'd rather have like a hard struggling life getting my dreams than it being like, oh, sitting on the couch saying, oh, my life is hard, this sucks.
Oh, 100%. I was sick for about a week, and I needed to stay home and rest, and I sat there and I just thought, I can't imagine this being my life every day. So I really enjoy the busy, high pace the
Yeah.
fun.
Addicted to it.
Yeah, like it's enjoyable. And I like to come home at night when it's done.
You feel good because you put in your work.
Write in my journal all the things, and I go to sleep excited to wake up for the next day, but to stay home and like,
One of our pastors here, Pastor Adam, I was talking to him, this was like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, man, I'm just stuck right now. I'm like stuck. It was just a day where I was just like, I'm like itching. I'm like, things aren't working out, unfortunate things are happening throughout the day. And I'm like, I'm losing my gratitude. I need to get back into gratitude mode. And he goes, you know what you could do to cure all this? He goes, go home and stay home for the next 3 days and don't work. And I'm like, oh my God, that would definitely fix the cure. Because you're used to working so much that sometimes you actually need to take yourself out to make you appreciate it to go back in.
And I think it just depends on how you are, because some people need to take themselves out, or some people need to move faster.
Yep.
So I think it's important that you understand you. Because a lot of times you'll go online and you'll get, you need to go hard, you need to go hard. But if you're going so hard for so long, you probably need to slow down. Mm-hmm. So, where you're getting your information from is really important. However, you need to know where are you?
That's a fact. Mm-hmm. I love that. Okay. I guess my last thing, and we'll wrap it up here. What's the next level for you? What does the next level look like for business, personal, for your family? I know I kind of talked about like expanding a little bit. And then I talked about Washington and the pop-ups that we won't do. But like, what does your next level look like for you?
It's being open and ready for whatever's coming my way. If you would have asked me this question 5 years ago, I would have never, if you would have asked that 20-something-year-old Stephanie, I started my coffee shop when I was 26. I would have never thought that I'd be here talking about a nonprofit and multiple programs and, any of the things. I never had this planned for me. So to me, I always say, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So it's always, okay, this is where you are physically, mentally, emotionally today. So where are you going to be tomorrow? Because again, the only thing I have control over is myself. So yes, I of course I have revenue goals for my businesses. And of course, I've got all those numeric goals. However, my number one is just being ready for what's coming.
I love that. That's awesome. Okay, cool. And for anybody that's listening to this, how can anybody reach out to you? Whether that means that you guys want to start like a nonprofit organization, empowering women, the Hispanic community, building a small local shop. And it doesn't have to be coffee. It could be anything that is a small, just locally owned business. Maybe they want business tips or maybe like personal coaching from you. What's the best way people can get
I would say the one-stop shop is going to be through my Instagram, and it's Stephanie_FTC. That's going to be the best place to find all the information.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. And like DM her, is that cool?
Yes.
Send her a DM, and we'll make sure that we put it in the description box below as well too, so that way people can look that up as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you have anything else that you want to share?
I just want to thank you. Thank you so much for having this conversation. I feel re-energized, so everyone better be ready when I walk out of this studio.
Good. They better be too. Before I forget, we have something that we give out that's really special to all of our high-level clients that do business with us. But I had put in a special request for this for you. This is our Women's Lady Lioness pin.
Oh, this is beautiful.
We only make 100 of those inside of our company for ladies that we associate ourselves with, and I asked permission to give.
Thank you so much.
For you to have one of them. It's magnetic, so you just
I
see
that. Yeah.
And you put it like on your blouse or on your shirt or backpack or whatever it is.
Thank you.
But we're really big into empowering women here, and I do believe that the world, actually I think business owners are better when they're driven by women.
I'll second that.
Yeah, like our entire company, everybody thinks it's Andy because he's the front face with like the microphone and he does the speaking engagements, but like Jacqueline did everything here. Yep. Everything's all built off.
Even if you want to dive into that, when you think about that, women, we are created to create. Mm-hmm. That's how we are built. So it makes just perfect sense. We're nurturing and we're creators. So of course we're dominating business.
I love that. Hell yeah. Well, everybody, you guys know exactly where to find Miss Stephanie. Until next time where we're going to shatter beliefs. The next time we'll shatter some more glass. Josiah, we should bring glass next time. Fake glass from like a movie set so we can shatter some more beliefs. We'll see you guys very soon. Check out Miss Stephanie. We'll put all of her information down below in the description. Hey, Elliott Army, what's going on? Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you for watching. If you like that video, you're going to love this other content. Here's a couple of other videos that are very similar to that one. Let's get it.